Okay. Ow. Guys, I'm gonna be so for real. I don't even know how to start this video because I feel like I can't just be like, hey guys, welcome back to the channel, when I just watched the most heartbreaking back-to-back I am not okay. It's so funny because everyone was warning me. They were like, just wait till you get to Shippuden. You're gonna cry. Like, you're gonna cry. And I was like, okay. I finished the original Naruto series. I liked it. There's a few characters that I care about. And then, well, bam! Shippuden's like, I feel like this video is already all over the place, but hi, hello, welcome. If this is your first time here and you're like, what the hell is happening right now? It is me, it is Hannah. I'm watching Naruto for the first time, and I just watched Jiraiya and Itachi. If you know, you know. We're gonna talk about it. But in case you're interested, I have been actually recapping each arc as I finish it, and yeah, I think I've been like progressively getting more and more unhinged. I started out so structured, and now I'm just like word vomiting because that's what happens. The show is just getting better and better, as expected, as everyone told me it was going to. I could not expect the levels of sobbing that I did twice, maybe 3 times during this arc. I need to talk about it. So we're gonna dive right in. Before we do, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, your thoughts, all the fun stuff. If you want to keep up on my Naruto journey, you know where to go, obviously. And I'm gonna try to kind of take this like mini arc by mini arc. I did look up on Crunchyroll it's like an overarching arc that was like, I don't know, 25 episodes or something, but there were technically 3 mini arcs. So I'm gonna start with like this Sasuke thing with Orochimaru and gathering his troops, and then I'm gonna talk about the Jiraiya fight, and then I'm gonna talk about the Sasuke and Itachi situation, because they're... If I don't have this at least somewhat compartmentalized, we're gonna be here a minute for this one. And honestly, when I started this arc, I was still recovering from the one previous to this. If you watch my video, I'll put it right, I think it's right here. I don't remember what side of the screen it's on when I'm recording. I think I've mirrored this too, so whatever, but it'll be somewhere on the screen. Anyway, that arc wrecked me. I loved Asuma. I knew it was coming. It's not that I was spoiled on his death. It was just the way they were writing that arc. I was like, okay, it's gonna happen. What got me was Shikamaru. Like, that entire arc just had me feeling some type of way for him, from like heartbreak to let's go to that's a badass. He just put in Akatsuki 1v1 in the ground. Anyway, I already talked about it. So I went into this arc already like, okay, this show is starting to really get to me. This show is now in my top 10. Like, I went into this arc being like, okay, this is getting real good. I knew that was probably gonna happen, but nothing could prepare me for this. The way it started too should have really set me up for the expectations of this arc being a lot, because the fact that we were like, what, 2 episodes into it and Sasuke was just like, oh yeah, I killed the guy. Like, this villain that has been a thorn in our side for the entire show. Granted, we are 300 episodes into the original source material. Again, reminding everyone, I have not watched any filler, but we're still at this point. I think it was around 150 episodes that I watched of the original series, and we're around 150. We're at like 120 something when we started this arc. So Sasuke just showing up and being like, yeah, I'm strong enough now. Orochimaru, you're not taking me as a vessel. You are going to be my vessel, essentially, because he didn't actually kill him. He just like absorbed him or something. And what a way to start off this arc. If that didn't set the tone, I don't know what would. Now, we did get introduced to a few characters. We have Suigetsu, we have Karin, and we have Jugo, who are all members of like Team Sasuke. I think they're calling themselves Team Heavy as of right now, which means snake. I like all of them. I find them very interesting. They've got really interesting personalities. Again, why do we have to go the route of the female character just being this like gag of, Sasuke, like, I get that Sasuke, let's be so for real, he's what, 16, 17 at this point? When I was 16, 17, I too would be like, oh my god, Sasuke's so cute. But at the same time, it's like, Karin is obviously very strong. Why do we have to go this route of her just being like, I'm not gonna go with you, Juka, or I think it was just Suigetsu at the time, leave the room, go take care of the prisoners, and as soon as he's gone, I'll go with you. I don't know. That was just the only like frustrating thing about this entire arc for me, was we still are going this route of every female character has to have this like, I'm super in love with you. And it's just annoying. Anyway, outside of that, I find all the characters very good. And I will also add that Karin, especially later down the road, is very, very helpful with her chakra sensing. And then it's revealed that she like can give people chakra if they bite her, which is really, really quite interesting. It kind of happened at a very convenient moment, but you know, whatever. Anime does that. I'm not gonna really be upset about it. Demon Slayer does it multiple times. It's my favorite anime, whatever. Suigetsu, I think, is the most interesting to me because I feel like he's the most mysterious out of all of them. I feel like this group, they're walking a line now. You know, I was saying, oh, Sasuke is a villain now because he's Team Orochimaru. It turns out he kind of, I don't think he was the entire time. He had an ulterior motive of the plan was to get strong enough to absorb him, I guess, and then go take down Itachi, which Itachi has been his goal this entire time. We'll talk about that in a minute. And this entire group is a very interesting one because they feel very, they're not good guys, but they're not bad guys. We feel very in between, and they do a very good job at feeling that way. Like, these characters are very interesting already, and they've got really cool powers, but at the same time, I don't feel like I should be on their side yet because I don't know which way we're leaning. And I'm finding that very interesting. I'm finding that like a really good aspect of this show is they do a very good job at just not keeping it like good versus evil. I think there's a lot of shows that have a place for that, and I think if they stuck with that, I would be okay with it. I tend to be fine with stories that don't really push back on what you think is true within the show. It's not that I'm like, oh, it has to have that to be good. However, Naruto is doing a very good job, and you can argue that it's probably because there is plenty of time to develop all these people because it's such a long show. But at the same time, I've felt like the pacing itself has been very good. It's not super slow. The only time I felt like it was super slow was the Chunin exam. That was a while ago now. That sour taste in my mouth has completely been removed. Overall, this like first little arc where it's like, okay, Sasuke is starting to form his team and go after Itachi. And then of course we also have our team Hidden Leaf that's also trying to find Sasuke. Well, they're trying to find Itachi because they believe if they find Itachi, then they'll find Sasuke, because obviously Sasuke is like tunnel vision towards his revenge quest, and everyone's trying to get there. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on this first part because I feel like the two other parts of this were so meaty and so emotional that I'm going to be spending a lot of time talking about it.
Hello, Future Hannah here. So I was editing this video and I realized I am a fake Kakashi stan because I forgot to talk about the 2 Kakashi backstory episodes that happened here. So I put on my new Kakashi t-shirt to show my love for him because these 2 episodes literally made me realize that Kakashi was actually my favorite character. Because after Hidan and Kakuzu, I was like, oh, Shikamaru is my favorite character. And then I watched this arc and I was like, nope, never mind. And then I forgot to talk about it in my video because I think I thought it had happened before this arc or something. Anyway, a lot happened this arc and I got very squirrel-brained. So let's talk about it really quick. And yeah, I mean it when I say that these 2 episodes made me like realize that Kakashi truly was my favorite character. I loved to see him and how kind of reckless he was when he was younger. He was a Jonin, like he just got promoted to that when he was still very young, it seems. We also got a little bit of backstory about his dad and what happened there. We got to meet Rin and Obito. Now, I do think Obito becomes prevalent in the story later, but I don't really know how because he obviously died in these 2 episodes. However, I feel like I'd recognize that name. So I don't know if it's because I feel like I've heard about him much more than what would be 2 episodes, or I'm just like really ahead of the game, but I think that he's still alive in some capacity. I don't really know in what way, but I think he's gonna come back in the story. But to see Obito and Kakashi kind of butt heads, and then at the end, Obito actually sacrifices himself to protect Kakashi, and we finally got the answer to how Kakashi got the Sharingan, which that's not the way I was expecting it to go. Honestly, I was almost certain that he got like experimented on as a kid. So it's kind of actually nice to know he wasn't experimented on. At least he's not that level of trauma. However, I can really start to understand why Kakashi acts the way that he does. I'm hoping we get a little bit more information about Rin as well, because where I am at right now of recording this part of the video, I'm already in the war arc, so I've seen quite a lot. And I know that Rin is dead. And I know that Kakashi couldn't protect her, but I don't know how. So I'm hoping we get more closure on that. We also got to meet Minato a little bit more and learn how strong and capable he was. Obviously now I know a little bit more about him, but at that time, I think that was some of the first information we really got about Minato, who of course is Naruto's dad. So it was really interesting to see even just a glimpse of just how strong he was. And also was lovely to see that Kakashi was his student, that it's like, Minato taught Kakashi, and now Kakashi is teaching Minato's son, Naruto. Overall, I really liked the 2 episodes. Like I said, it made me fall in love with Kakashi even more. I just felt like I needed to add a quick little thing about it since I just completely forgot to talk about it. That is not because I disliked it. It's just because so much happened in the span of these like 30 episodes that I genuinely thought it had happened to the arc before. So anyway, 10 out of 10 on the Kakashi backstory. Excited to see him get developed even further because it even, like, I feel like there's so much more to come for him. And this was just a little piece of the puzzle of Kakashi, which I'm very excited about. And it was very emotional. I definitely cried when Obito sacrificed himself and gave him his Sharingan. But again, I just can't get over the fact that I think Obito is still alive in some capacity, but we'll see. We'll see, but it was a really sweet 2 episodes to kind of see Kakashi younger and learn about how he got the eye and all that stuff. And it definitely makes it a little bit more emotional whenever he uses it because, you know, he's using it because of his friend's sacrifice. So just wanted to throw this in here. Back to the original video.
I do want to bring up the end-ish of the like whole Sasuke finding Itachi part of the arc, and that is that Jiraiya has found the hideout of this Akatsuki member, and he thinks that he is the leader and he is going to go infiltrate the hidden rain village, and he's not intending to fight, he's just trying to get more information. And boy, oh boy, was that goodbye with Tsunade making me cry, because I will say right now that this arc, I have watched it, I'm assuming if you are watching this video, you have watched Naruto Shippuden. You are not going to get spoiled by me saying this, but I did get spoiled that Jiraiya was going to die during this story. I did not know the circumstances. I did not know how or when or how it was going to happen. However, I did know he was going to die. As soon as they painted it in a way where Tsunade is very worried about his safety, he's saying things like, you know, if I come back, ... which obviously he was like, if I come back, like, you gotta be my woman or whatever, you know, because there's this like kind of side romance to them, which is the only romance that I even have really been a fan of so far. I was sitting there crying because I was like, okay, I think that means it's time. Was I prepared for it to be this early on in Shippuden, which is funny to say because like we're over 100 episodes into it. However, Shippuden's like 500 episodes or so, so I still feel like we're very early on. I was not prepared for it to be this early, but as soon as they wrote it in the way where it was very emotional and very tearful, I knew that Jiraiya wasn't coming back. So let's talk about the middle arc of Jiraiya versus Pain. There's definitely still a lot of mysteries involved because it seems like Pain is like a mixture of Yamato and the other kid. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but we learned very early on that Jiraiya was like trying to do summoning jutsu and ended up in the land of the frogs and became the prophecy for them. And he learns that at some point he is going to like mentor this person, and that person is going to become a integral part of the ninja world, essentially. And he is going to have to make the decision where this person is either going to change the world for a better or essentially destroy the world. And Jiraiya goes into this like he's trying to find that person, which is funny because it's like obviously you have to just wait. It has to happen naturally. You can't just be like constantly like, are you the kid? Are you the kid? And after a few years of him, you know, kind of going on this journey of trying to find his fate, he doesn't find it. So he goes back to the Hidden Leaf Village because they're in the middle of a war. Thus, him, Tsunade, and Orochimaru kind of become the main three. I guess they were up against a very, very powerful opponent that killed everyone but them, and he is the one who called them like the Sannin, the three people. And when he runs into these kids, it seems very natural to me. Like, I'm like, okay, maybe one of these kids is going to be that person. And I think he's thinking that way too. But just finding out that he was in charge of Yamato and then, what's her name? Conan, I think is her name. And then this other kid that I can't remember his name off the top of my head, I'm so sorry. Watching him be a teacher and all of that stuff, I was like, okay, like maybe one of these kids, but this whole time I'm thinking it's Naruto. I'm like, no, it's Naruto. Naruto is the one who's actually going to be his disciple that changes the world, right? I loved this development of Jiraiya, kind of seeing how he was as a kid, really helped me fall in love with him more. And of course, this whole time I'm sitting there, I'm like, yeah, he's definitely dying because we got the tearful goodbye, we got the backstory, and we're going to do something that is obviously very dangerous. Okay, gotta mentally prepare myself. And I was not mentally prepared for how it went down. But I think that Pain, like we finally get the introduction of Pain. He seems like a very difficult foe. Now I know, and I think it's next. I think literally, I don't think my emotions are gonna stop anytime soon because I believe the next arc is the Pain Assault arc, which everyone talks about. My friends talk about it. I see it on the internet all the time. Even if I haven't really gotten spoiled on exactly what this arc entails, I believe it's next and I know it's gonna be a lot. Okay, I'm gonna be okay. It's just a TV show. It's just a TV show. It's just a TV show. But after we kind of go through this backstory, we start infiltrating. Obviously, this Hidden Ring Village is not what Jiraiya is thinking of. We also find out that the person who's supposedly like partially in charge of it, because they were supposed to be in a civil war where there were like two people who were trying to take over. One of them was this unknown guy that turns out to be Pain. And one of them was supposed to be, what was his name? Not Danzo. Danzo is someone else. But there was another guy. And he was the one who was super strong that declared the three of them the Sannin, that only let them live because they were strong enough to not die by his hand, right? He finds out very quickly that this man is just like, not only not around anymore, but he's like, if he mentions the name, it's like Voldemort. He's like, don't say his name. You will be dead by morning, right? So it's like very eerie and very like, whoa. And then we very quickly get into this battle. So I want to say that this battle was a 10 out of 10. It was very interesting in the sense that there was a lot of lore getting dropped and a lot of character development for Jiraiya, but also just like trying to understand who this guy Pain is and just how incredibly difficult he's going to be. I feel like up until now, like the Akatsuki as a whole has been very difficult to deal with and we have lost people because of them. But I've felt like up until now that Itachi has kind of been that main villain that seems very, very strong and unstoppable because of the way that he, like his introduction all the way back in the original series, we saw him just completely destroy Kakashi easily, even though Kakashi had been developed as this very strong character. He's a Jonin, he's one of the best ones, he's very talented, you know? And Itachi just showed up and was like, haha, yeah, you're nothing compared to me. So I feel like up until now, we've felt like Itachi has been that main villain, which again, we're gonna talk about him soon. But Pain is definitely a problem. I would be lying if I said I understood his abilities. I think the point is that we're not supposed to as of right now because Jiraiya definitely lost and died not really understanding what just happened, I think. And the fight choreography was very good. That's something that I've realized over the past couple of arcs is how much better the animation has truly gotten. I've had those moments during the fights where I'm like, okay, like this is good. I can't rip my eyes away from it. I sometimes forget to read the subtitles because I'm like, thinking about what's happening with the action. But this was definitely one of my favorite fights in the entire series so far. It was, you know, you're learning about Jiraiya's new abilities. They still throw in a couple silly gags just to keep it lighthearted at times. But overall, it's a very dark and a very difficult fight to get through. And it ends, of course, with Pain winning. I'm not gonna lie, I felt like the actual end of the fight was like a tiny bit anticlimactic. I thought Jiraiya would put up a little bit more of a fight in his death. However, I think that was simply to show truly how strong Pain is. Kind of like how Itachi showed up and just took down Kakashi like that. Pain kind of showed up and took down Jiraiya like that. And Jiraiya, I've felt, it has been stronger than Kakashi. Like he's higher than Jonin. He's like one of the big ones, right? So I can kind of see how Pain really defeating him that easily when all is said and done. Once he started actually taking it seriously, it was over very quickly. Just goes to show how difficult this foe is going to be. I wish there was just a little bit more. However, guys, I think in those final moments, first of all, Jiraiya realizes that it was Naruto the entire time. Naruto was his fate because he wrote this book. Minato and his wife ended up naming Naruto after the main character of Jiraiya's book. We kind of learned that Jiraiya is like his godfather this entire time, and I don't think that Naruto even knew that. And there's this like big emotional moment of flashbacks, and I'm sitting there crying because Jiraiya's dying, and I did really like Jiraiya. He was a character that was probably in my top 10. Did I like the trope of him being pervy? No. But I liked him as a character. I felt like he was going through some good development. He was a great teacher. When we see him like floating down, and the moment that gets me, and we go to Naruto still chasing after Sasuke, and we see Jiraiya's like spirit just touch him on the shoulder, and Naruto feels it and stops it. I need to stop talking about this before I cry, and I'm not even done talking about this arc. Breathe, Hannah. Breathe. Okay, I can't do that kind of stuff, okay? When a character dies, that's all sad and all, you know, like I'm sad that we're not going to see that character anymore, especially when it's someone that I love. It's always the reaction, and it's always the circumstances around it. And I haven't even seen the episode where Tsunade actually finds out about it, and I'm not ready for that. Because Tsunade is a very sad character who's lost so much in her life, and you know she did not want him to go. Naruto hasn't found out either yet. Anyway, yeah. I didn't like how this happened in the middle of the arc too, but I didn't get time to really sit on it like they did with Asuma, where it was like, okay, the episode where he died happened, and then the episode after that, we kind of had like all the characters react. We had the funeral and that sort of thing, and then we had more that was still going off of that. Jiraiya's death like was so heart-wrenching. And then by the next episode, we're moving on. So we still haven't seen Tsunade's actual response to finding out. We haven't seen Naruto's actual response. We just saw them like kind of have these moments where it's like, you think they know. Jiraiya, like his spirit came and touched him when he realized that Naruto was the prophecy for him all along. And it almost makes it hurt more because you don't get to have that time to really grieve this character that's been a part of the story for so long, that's been so important to the characters for so long. Just like, he's gone. That's it. By the way, we still have a lot to get through, and don't worry, the tears aren't gonna stop. I remember texting my friends. I finished that episode and I was like crying, and I've been like taking pictures of my face as I watch it, just not to be like, oh, I'm recording myself crying. It's to be like, to show my friends how I'm feeling about what I'm watching. I was like sending them these pictures, and I watched the next episode, and literally Itachi and Sasuke meet. It's not actually Itachi, it's like a clone. And I'm like, can I breathe? And no, because now it's time to talk about Sasuke versus Itachi and the truth about Itachi. I had heard a lot about Itachi being a very well-written character, and I had seen pictures of the climax of their battle of him dying. I guess I didn't fully, like, I wasn't just explicitly told, like, Itachi's gonna die the way I was explicitly told that Jiraiya was going to die. So I went into this part of the arc with a lot less spoilers. I just knew that a lot of people talk about Itachi being, some people saying he's the most well-written villain in anime history. I don't know if I agree with that. I'll talk about that in a minute. But just a lot of people are like, oh yeah, Itachi, Itachi, Itachi. And he was one of the few characters that I not only knew the name before I watched Naruto as a whole, but I also knew what he looked like. I knew the hair, the Sharingan eyes, and even just like the line to kind of signify, I don't know, like wrinkles or something because of the stress of his life. But first of all, I will say the fight itself and the ending of the fight, I actually did not cry. It was just one of those things where it's like, this has been built up the entire show. Like, we've known from the start that Sasuke's mission was to kill someone, and then later on in the original series we find out it's because of his big brother, because his big brother just completely destroyed the clan. We're led to believe that he is just this big villain that woke up one day and was like, I'm gonna kill my entire family except my little brother, right? And I'm not gonna kill him because he's too weak. It's not even worth it to kill him like all the other members of the family. I think I knew from the start that that wasn't the full story. And that is very common with these kinds of villains that have like familial ties with other characters, is like, okay, that's not the full story. The way they did, like they paced this was so mean, because I would be lying if I said at the end of their fight that I wasn't a little like proud of Sasuke. I've had a love-hate relationship with Sasuke, and I still do as of right now at the like tail end of watching this arc, because I literally just finished it like 2 days ago and I have not started the next arc. I very specifically didn't want to let myself start watching the next one and let those thoughts start to creep in, because I know the next one is a big arc. So I'm just like, I'm trying to force myself to wait, record, and then start it. But I would be lying if I said I wasn't like a little bit like very proud of Sasuke. Like, he's come a long way. But I also was like, I wasn't expecting this battle between brothers to be so early on. I figured this would be one of the like final arcs because it's such a huge part of Sasuke's character. And I'm actually kind of excited to see his development post this arc, because a lot happened to him just within these like 8 episodes that this arc covered. So let's back up and talk about the battle first. The battle of the Sharingan was wild. Again, the fight choreography, the animation is just getting so much better. And they also were like adding flashbacks here and there to just add the layers to the entire fight sequence as a whole. You know, it's got that pretty predictable, oh, Itachi's gonna win, nope, Sasuke's gonna win. And now the whole time I knew Sasuke was gonna win. I didn't know if it was going to actually lead to Itachi like straight up dying. I didn't know if there was gonna be like he had a change of heart or something like that. The only part of the fight that kind of got to me was actually the very end. You know, Itachi this entire fight is saying like he wants his eyes because he's like going blind using his Mangyaku Sharingan. In order for him to get his eyes restored, he has to take his little brother's eyes. And also, like, I'm gonna talk about Madara later because he becomes very prevalent after, like really after this battle. But the backstory of him taking his brother's eyes because he was like living in darkness, because like using this jutsu is actually really, really hard on your eyes and will make you like live in darkness, go blind, right? It was very believable. The entire time that I was watching that fight, I 100% believe that Itachi genuinely wanted to take Sasuke's eyes. He very much was putting on this facade that I believed as an audience member. I don't know if that makes me naive, but it made the big reveal in episode 141 that much more devastating. So when the battle happened and when Itachi died, when he, like, it seemed like he was reaching for Sasuke's eyes still, and you couldn't tell if he was like dying or if he was just almost like losing strength. Like, it was very confusing, right? When he did the little, you know, the way he just like kind of tapped Sasuke on the forehead, like he's been doing since Sasuke was a child. And then that was it, like he was dead. That didn't really make me cry in that moment when I watched it, but I was like, what's going on here? This doesn't feel like the death of a villain. Guys, If there is one thing that I love in stories, it is siblings, like bonds of siblings, which makes the like angsty sibling trope that much more difficult. I grew up very, very close with my sisters. I was homeschooled. I was the youngest of 3. There's something about like the bond of siblings in these stories that just always gets to me. It's why I love Demon Slayer, because Demon Slayer is very, very heavily focused on the bonds of siblings, not just with our main 2, but with like a lot of different characters having like sibling stuff happening, right? Again, that's what makes it when it's like a doomed sibling bond or sibling angst, that makes it that much harder for me. So first of all, Madara. I want to know more about him. They've revealed some stuff about him, and it turns out like maybe he's not actually, like he didn't just kill his brother because he wanted to, because he would just like, he wanted the power. He said that his brother was a willing sacrifice, that he needed to do it. And it seemed like Madara's motives at this point in time, I feel like were pretty pure and understanding. But Sasuke fulfilling his life goal of killing his brother because he thought his brother just in cold blood killed his entire family except for him. Doing it, and then like while he's still recovering from that fight, being told the truth. So Itachi this entire time is a double agent. I don't even know if I can describe it in a way that will show like the power of this writing here, but he was a double agent. And he let Sasuke live because he loved him, not because he was weak and it was not a worthy kill. He was able to resolve himself to kill everyone in his family and his bloodline and his clan except for his little brother because he loved him that much. And everything he's done since then has been because he's wanted Sasuke to kill him, and he doesn't want people to know what he was actually doing, that he was ordered by the Hidden Leaf Village to kill the Uchiha clan because of like an uprising that was starting to happen. And there's this big back and forth. Was the Hidden Leaf Village even incorrect for ordering him to do it? Yes, but also no. There's an uprising, but are they actually going to do the uprising? The Uchiha clan, the reason that they were kind of ostracized was for good reason on some hand and not. Like, it's very gray. It's very morally gray in this situation. Like, was there really a bad guy? Was there really a good guy in this situation? Not really. But at the end of the day, the Hidden Leaf Village ordered Itachi to kill his entire clan. And he had to resolve himself to do that, to kill his own parents. And he was supposed to kill his little brother, but he could not. He let him be. And he knew in that moment that, first of all, it was revealed that he was like terminally ill, apparently. Like, he was actually ill. It wasn't just his eyes. Like, he had a terminal illness, I guess. But he wanted Sasuke to kill him so that he could still die the bad guy. He wanted to remain the bad guy forever, to protect Sasuke. And if there's not one thing that I love more in this world, it is a big brother protecting their little sibling, no matter how they have to do it. So after this like big reveal of everything, we go back to that scene at the end where Itachi dies, and he does the little, and then it like does his backstory of them just living as brothers, and you see like you have this clear vision of what was actually happening, of the fact that the entire time Itachi loved him and he wanted to protect him. And in the end, he could only do the thing that he loved doing as his big brother, and little tap and giving him the Mangekyo shouting gun, and somehow being able to set it up where it sets off the Amaterasu whenever it meets Madara's shouting gun, which I think there's so much more to unpack with Madara. I'm really excited to learn more about him. Good Lord. As soon as I looked it up, I saw that people like episode 141 of Shippuden is very, very well known. It is very well known. People be posting about it all the time, just like with no context, like 141 truth. I did not know that going into this episode. That was definitely the craziest moment of sobbing that I have had this show so far. It was Demon Slayer level sobbing. Like, that's how much the show is getting to me now. I went back and forth. This picture is not not flattering at all, but I'll put the picture right here. This is the picture that I took of myself right as I was learning about Itachi. I think it was like the end of episode 141, seeing the backstory and like coming full circle all the way to the moment that Itachi died, and you realize that like this entire time he's just loved Sasuke so much. He's wanted to protect him, and he was doing this simply because he wanted to die the villain because of his sins and that sort of thing, and like the fact that he had to do what he did, but he didn't want to. Like, oh my god. So this was my face when I was watching this. I could not keep it together. I think I had to stop watching after this, and I didn't finish the arc until like 3 days later, whatever, because it was just too much. I've been doing a lot of watching this show on lunch. In fact, I watched Jiraiya's death on lunch break. Bad idea. Don't do that. And then I wanted to, I luckily, not knowing that 141 was going to break me in the way that it did, I decided to wait until after work to watch it. I'm so glad I did, because I just like laid in bed after that, like, oh my god. So this is very set up. This is different than all the other recaps I've done, because I just had to kind of just talk about it. I just had to kind of bring up what happened this arc, because that was hard. The amount of tears that I shed, even in like the first third of it, when like Tsunade was saying goodbye to Jiraiya, I was like tearing up a lot, because in that moment I knew he was gone. And then with him dying, like his death scene was heartbreaking. And then, you know, getting a little bit like misty-eyed here and there during the fight of Sasuke versus Itachi, because they were layering it with backstory. But then learning the truth of Itachi, the sobbing, the open sobbing, and then it showing Sasuke also crying, because it was like, you have to wonder, and I'm sure this is going to be like very much explored throughout the rest of the series, because we still have a long way to go. But you have to like wonder, he like was living his life with this one goal. You have to have this feeling of emptiness once you achieve that goal, first of all, but then to find out right after, like he is still recovering, and Madara is just like, I'm gonna tell you everything, by the way, which like maybe shouldn't have done that. And for him to realize, like, I can only imagine the emptiness you have to feel after you achieve that goal, but then find out that that goal was wrong the entire time. And that he could have just, I mean, he couldn't. Like, Itachi wanted him to hate him. Itachi wanted him to do what he did, because he wanted to die the villain. But Sasuke has to be sitting there thinking, like, what could have been? If I had just learned about this early, we could have, like, And then he's like, I'm gonna destroy the Hidden Leaf Village. Great. I mean, I can't blame him for wanting to do that. After he learns all this stuff about his brother, which his brother doesn't want him to do it, because at the end of the day, Itachi was loyal to the Hidden Leaf Village. Like, he cared more about the village than the clan, because the clan they were turning evil. You know, he had to stop it. I can't blame Sasuke for wanting to do this. I'm pretty sure the Akatsuki is about to also go after them. I'm pretty sure this next arc is literally Pain assaulting the Hidden Leaf Village. So anyway, yeah, Sasuke's tears got to me too. And then him changing the name. Also, Itachi got rid of Orochimaru's curse, so I guess Orochimaru is done? No, I feel like he's still kind of in Kabuto. Like, he's still kind of trying to take over Kabuto, so I feel like there's still more there. But good lord, guys. Good lord, what an arc. 10 out of 10. I'm not even going to beat around the bush here. That was 10 out of 10. I have no qualms. That was a masterpiece. Oh my god. I can't even talk about it without tearing up, because I'm thinking about the way they set up the episode, where we find out they were starting to have the back and forth with Madara and Sasuke, and he was kind of telling him the truth about Itachi. But the episode Truth, where we see it finish, we hear like officially, Itachi did all of this to protect you. And then we do a flashback, and we now see Itachi and Sasuke's relationship in a completely different light. And then we make it full circle. We understand why he did what he did when he died. That broke me, man. And my friends are telling me that wasn't even the hardest part for them of this show. So I don't know what else can break me like that did. But that was such an amazing arc. I've been recording for nearly 45 minutes now, because, and usually these take me like 20 minutes, but this arc was, I couldn't, like, this is also a really yappy video again, because I keep just like losing my train of thought midway through my sentence, but that's the kind of videos that I make, so welcome. This was, if Naruto was in like top 10, now it's top 5, top 6, I guess, because I'm thinking about the other animes that are in my top 5. I don't know if it can break any of those quite yet, but yeah. Anyway, guys, that's going to be it for today's video, because if I keep talking, I'm just going to keep yapping. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment. Also, follow me on social media. I've got some Naruto cosplays that I've posted as of this video going out, and I also have maybe some more coming. So definitely check it out. Instagram at HannahMalay, TikTok at HannahMalay, X at lookingnerdy. Yeah, that's gonna be it for today's video. Bye guys.